Hello, welcome back. And today we are going over mom guilt. And of course, this episode is on the podcast. So as you know, I like to record a video as well as audio for the podcast. So of course, the podcast will be linked down below as well as the show notes. Everything discussed in this video will be linked down below. So if this podcast was focused towards, being a mompreneur and having guilt, when it comes to spending time with the kids and juggling our businesses and things like that. So that is what is going on in this episode. So make sure you continue watching to get all of the tips I have for you if you are currently struggling with mom guilt. So just keep watching. Hey, welcome back to the show. It is Tony. And if you're new here, welcome. Hey girl, hey. All right. And if you are not new here, welcome back. I missed you a little bit. All right. So today we are discussing mompreneur life and mom guilt, right? At times we get wrapped up in the business, we get wrapped up in the hustle, right? And we tend to start feeling a little bad, right? So that is what we're going to discuss today. But before we actually get into that, of course, I want to hit you with a mom win for today. All right. Today's mom win was I folded a load of laundry. Okay, for me, I'm sorry, that is a mom win. I can do it. I will put the load in, I'll wash the clothes, I'll get it into the dryer most of the time, right? But it's the folding of the clothes after the fact. It's like, it's like, I hate it. But, today I actually went on ahead and I folded a load. So, hey, that worked out. So I was pretty happy about that. So, of course, every episode I'm giving you a mom win because I feel like with moms, we have to hype ourselves up, even if it is for the little things, right? Folding laundry, washing dishes before 10 o'clock at night, right? So when it comes to the mom win, we always gotta hype ourselves up because at times no one sees all that we do. So hey, let me know what your mom win was for today over on the IG page. Okay, of course you can always head there at Tony Shelton _. Like I was saying, right? When it comes to mompreneur life and when it comes to mom guilt, I feel like at times we start to feel guilty, right? We start to feel guilty because we feel as if we decided to take on this side hustle to provide more for our family. But guess what? The time is going away and we are so wrapped up in the hustle, we're not spending that much time with our family. Even though we're making more money, we're not spending more time with our family. And even if you chose to work from home to spend more time with your family, then you might get wrapped up in work and you're not doing what you thought you were going to be able to do, right? That happens so much with us. It's always the opposite of what we thought was going to happen. When it comes to mom guilt, right? It's a feeling that a lot of us feel after a while, and sometimes we could just kind of shake it and be like, okay, we're going to be all right. We got this, And then sometimes it's really hard to shake, and then we start making really drastic decisions, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not spending enough time with my kids. I need a new career change, you know what I mean? Or we start just doing spend a whole lot of money, right? Or we're like, hey, I'm not spending a lot of time with the kids. Let me go take them to the mall and buy them whatever they want, right? Not the solution here. That is not the solution here, okay? But we want to make sure we have a good balance. Do not feel guilty for taking care of your family. Do not feel guilty for any past decisions, okay? So, of course, I am going to hit you with a book in relation to this. I did read a book called The Power of Now. It's pretty much talking about worrying about now. You can't change the past, and we really can't predict the future. So the only thing that you are in is the now moment. You're only present, okay? You can't worry, well, I didn't spend time with them last week. I need to make up for it this week by spending triple the time with them. Not the case, okay? So, of course, my book recommendations it's going to be down in the show notes. So make sure you check out the show notes or the description box, depending on where you are receiving this podcast. So you want to worry about now. How can you get out of that rut now? How can you be a better mom now? right? But then when it comes to being a better mom, what are you comparing that to? Better in reference to what? What are you referencing this to, right? Are you referencing it to something that you saw somewhere else? Are you referencing it to a mom that you saw on social media? You know what I mean? So be a better mom than you were yesterday, not a better mom than your mother or your family members or someone that you saw on social media. Because at the end of the day, right, we don't know what is really going on or that person's mindset, right? We see so much people on social media, right? And we don't know what goes on once they're not in front of the camera, right? No one really posts their flaws. And even if they post their flaws, it's not a detrimental flaw, right? And they make it pretty. They make their flaws pretty. I'm like, yo, like, how are you making this flaw pretty? You know what I mean? Like, how are you still smiling and I would be in tears? You hear me? Like, how are you still going on with your day? I will be wrapped up in the blanket, eating chips, eating cookies, and watching Golden Girls right now and boo-hoo crying, right? But of course, you just never know what someone's going through. So don't compare yourself, your current situation to someone else that you don't know, right? But when it comes to, mom guilt or feeling as if you don't have enough time, there are a few techniques that you can do to honestly help you, such as plan as much as you can. Like on this podcast, that's my main focus is planning. Why? Because I am planning for vacations. I'm planning for dates in the park. I'm planning for, the time I want to sit here and record podcasts or record YouTube videos or work on client work. I'm planning for all these events because I need to be able to balance it all. It is hard being a mompreneur. It is hard balancing it all, right? Because at times we're thinking we're doing a good job, but something is suffering. Okay, in the back of our head, we know what's suffering, but we don't want to address it, right? So yeah, let's say for instance, you're like, oh, this week or today I made $1,000 on the business, but on the same note, you have been promoting your business for the last 2 weeks every day, and you have been on social media more than often, and your kids haven't really saw you, or they only see you when it's time for dinner, or they only see you when you're rushing them out the door, right? So in the back of your mind, you know this, but you're like, well, I gotta get this done. You know what I mean? So if you plan more, if you're planning your days, you're planning the events, you're planning the trips, you're planning your work time, you'll see where is all of your time going, right? You'll see, okay, yeah, I spent way too much time on the business last month. Let's see how I can delegate some things. Let's see what kind of systems I need to put in place to make this mompreneur life real, right? To make this mompreneur life what I truly dreamed of. This is not what I dreamed of. I dreamt, I'm gonna just, have a great morning routine, sit and drink coffee, enjoy the day, you know what I mean? And you are rushing all day long, right? And you're like, nothing is getting accomplished. This is not what I dreamed of. This is not what I thought it was going to be. This is too much. I'm not making enough to hire a virtual assistant, and this is too much. So, all right, so let's get into some things that you can honestly do now. You need to know your business goals, right? That's where you need to start. What's the goal of your business? Because sometimes we're just in our business and we're going, and then we sit back and like, wait, why did I start that new venture? Why did I add another product? That took away more time from my family, and it doesn't even align with my business. So you need to honestly know what the goals are for your business, right? Then the next thing is time batching. What I tell you on this podcast, that is my jam. That's what you're going to hear all the time on this podcast, okay? Time batching. So I work in chunks, okay? I'm a teacher, so we were taught to teach in chunks, right? You give the information to the student and they'll do the work. Then you give them some more information and then they'll do the work, right? So you are giving them information in chunks, not all at once, because it will overwhelm them and their attention span is fairly short. So same thing with time blocking or time batching, however you want to call it, right? You want to work in chunks, and you also need to know your attention span, right? With me, I know I can work for a full hour, phone on focus mode, right? And I work for a full hour. But after that hour, I notice I get a little antsy, and then my attention span goes down and I start losing focus and I'm wasting time. Okay. But within that hour, I do the Pomodoro, I think that's what it's called, method, where I work within like about 15 minutes, I take a 5-minute break. Or I work for 20 minutes and I take a 5-minute break. Okay. So when I'm looking at I'm thinking about my energy level, or I am looking at my attention span, I will see it look like hills, right? It will go up. I'm good for a couple of minutes and then it'll go down. I'll lose attention. I'll get distracted very easily. And then it'll go back up if I take a break, and then it'll go back down. So during those breaks, I'll go get some water, or I'll use the restroom, or something to that effect. But I needed to understand that I can't work straight through because nothing would get accomplished, right? So when it comes to time batching, I like to put like tasks within a block of time. So if I am working on the podcast, I'm working with stuff dealing with the podcast, and I write a to-do list for that time block. So I'll block off, let's say, 2 hours for the podcast, right? I'm writing a to-do list for that 2 hours instead of me just trying to figure it out. So time blocking would truly help you. And of course, the episode about time blocking is going to be down in the show notes. So make sure you check that out. Next, work with pockets of time, okay? As a mom, to be honest, we don't have much time, especially when the kids are around. We really don't have much time, right? Because they want all of our attention. Even if it is just you sitting there next to them watching TV, they still want you next to them watching TV. So with me, the way how I work in that pocket of time, even if it is a movie that we watch literally 50 times in 1 week, at that point, I don't want to watch it no more. So what I would do, to be honest, is I will write outlines for my podcast on my phone. I know, bad mama moments, but I'm tired of that movie, okay? The first couple of times was cool. At the point where we all know all of the words, it's a bit much, okay? So I would sit there and I would write an outline for the podcast on my phone, okay? Or I'll write an outline for the YouTube video on my phone. I just try to find things to do when I have time like that, you know what I mean? And also, when it comes to pocket of time, you make your pockets of time, okay? Pockets of time is like literally a short amount of time that you may have that you can get things done, okay? Like 5-10 minutes, okay? And even with me, with pockets of time, I fold clothes. I know, I hate it, but if I'm not like outlining something, or I, just sitting around, I would go get the clothes out of the dryer, because for some reason there is always clothes in the dryer. You know what I'm saying, okay? And I'll just fold them up within that pocket of time or something like that. But work in those pockets, work in those little bursts of time that you may have, okay? And let's talk about the next thing, okay? This one is real important, okay? This one a lot of us don't do because we are strong women and we feel as if we need to run everything and we always need to be in control. But this one is ask for help, okay? Ask for help. The reason why I say that is because sometimes asking for help does not necessarily have to be in your business, okay? Asking for help sometimes can be with folding the clothes, starting the wash, right? Asking for help could be you just asking, a family member to pick the kids up from daycare, or, asking someone to take the kids to the park, or something to that effect, something to where someone else can easily do without messing up. When it comes to my business, like, no one could really help me other than like a couple of people that I trust. But other than that, no one can really help me with recording an episode for the podcast. No one can really help me with recording a YouTube video, right? But someone can help me with watching the kids while I record, or something to that effect, or even just try to get some things done around the house. Or I would ask my husband, hey, can you cook dinner? Or can you pick something up? Okay, even that at times become a bit much, right? Because for some reason, whenever I order, everyone wants something different. But when he orders, everyone just wants whatever he wants. I don't know what that is, okay? I don't know where that even came from, but that is how it goes over here, okay? Sometimes I'll be like, hey, can you pick up something for dinner? Or if he's home, I'll say, hey, can you clean the bathrooms? Today is bathroom day. Can you clean the bathroom? Okay, just to give me a break for me to be able to do something else. so that I am not overwhelmed. That is the biggest thing, right? Being overwhelmed, because after a while we become overwhelmed with so much, and then guess what? That mom guilt really hits home. It just adds like fuel to the fire, right? When we have that mom guilt and we're already overwhelmed. Oh, it's terrible. So next, okay, this one has to deal with your business, okay? This is the next tip for you. Expand on what already works. Do not start anything new, especially if you're already overwhelmed and you feel defeated. Do not add anything extra, but you could attempt to expand, right, on what you already have. So if you have, let's say for instance, an ebook, expand with the workbook, okay? Let's say for instance, you have a blog or you already have a YouTube channel. Okay, expand by taking clips from your YouTube channel, these YouTube videos, and putting it to social media to promote your channel, right? Expand on things that you already have or that's already working, right? Because at times when we start in something new, guess what that means? More time invested. You have to invest more time. So that means less time at home or less time with the kids. So if you already are struggling with time management and you don't have enough time with your kids, you might not want to start anything new. You might just want to expand on what already works. So if you're already doing pretty well with the ebook, why not just expand and do a workbook? Okay, if you have an ebook, create a planner, right? Or something to that effect, something that you can do without putting that much brain power or having to learn something new, right? Because at times when we start something new, we have to learn something new, okay? So instead of having to learn something totally new, just expand on what you already have until you have more time to, start something new. But if you don't, just expand what you already have. So let's go on to the next tip, all right? This next tip is create a solid system and a solid foundation. Okay, when it comes to your home and your business, you need to have a solid system, okay, and a solid foundation so that things just flows. Everyone in the house know what the system is, right? So let's talk about solid systems within the business first. So for me, right, I use Trello a lot in my business. So I keep the titles of my YouTube videos, I keep the titles of podcast episodes, and even brainstorming ideas. I try to keep everything in Trello. So within my Trello boards, right, if you don't know Trello, I advise you to hop on Trello, especially if you're suffering with systems. Within Trello, I can see, okay, I start with the research part of, the podcast. And then I move over to recording. Then I move that one card over to edit. So it's telling me everything I need to do for that one podcast episode, right? Tell me everything that needs to get done for that one podcast episode or YouTube video. Then, okay, that is pretty much the system I have. It's keeping track of what needs to be done and where I currently am within the system. At times, we don't have a solid foundation because we never started with a solid foundation. We kind of just started and just kind of kept it going, right? And just kind of figure things out as we went, but never create a solid foundation. You also need to create systems and processes, right? So that if you need to hire someone, because guess what, sis, you're about to hire someone to your business to help you out more so you can spend more time with that family. But if you hire someone, they don't know, you don't have like a system set in place to even onboard them. So you need to create that system so that whenever you hire that person, they can just hop in and you don't have to do like no 10-day training for them, right? We don't want to do a 10-day training. I'm sorry. So you want to make sure you have a system and a process in place so that whenever it is time to hire someone else on, it's simple, it's easy, they can hop in and just, keep the system and the flows going. So you also want to create that foundation the same way. So when it comes to your house, right, when it comes to your home, you need to have systems in place, right? Even routines. That is my jam. A routine is my jam. So at times I do struggle. I think we all struggle with the morning routine because we never know what a toddler is going to do in the morning. You don't know what kind of vibe they're going to wake up on, right? Because some mornings they be cool. They get up, they do what they have to do. And then some mornings they are just all over the place and you are over it. Right? So when it comes to routines, right, I like to create routines that I am in control of, right? Even with my morning routine, for the most part, it's personally for me, not the entire house, because these kids be doing too much. So for me, for my routine is laundry. So certain days I do certain loads of laundry. Certain days I deep clean certain rooms. But I do like a tidy up type thing. I kind of got that system, well, not kind of, but I did get that system from, I think her name is Clean Mama. So I found Clean Mama on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, or a Facebook group. I can't recall, but either way, right? Her system is certain days you do certain loads of laundry, right? And then certain days you clean certain rooms. So I kind of just printed out one of her freebies and I just follow that. But you still clean, you do like a tidy up type thing throughout every day, right? Like your dailies, I think it's called. You wash your dishes, put together the living room. But certain days you clean like your master bathroom or your bathrooms. Another day you clean, the bedrooms, certain bedroom, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And it really did help me because I don't feel overwhelmed on the weekends. So if you are trying to cram all the cleaning on Saturday or Sunday and you realize by the time you're done, your weekend is done, you need a new system, sis. You need a new system. So find Clean Mama, okay, and print out that freebie and just follow that. She have a lot of freebies if you don't know, but she have a lot of freebies. I think I had printed out all of those, all of them. And I think she has a planner if I'm not mistaken, but I did not invest in a planner. I'm not going to sit here and lie, okay? I just needed a system and I just followed that from what she created, and I clean certain rooms on certain days, and I actually put it in my planner so I could remember what room I'm going to clean on what days and so forth and so on. So having a routine that you can control is perfect, because at times, I'm telling y'all, okay, having a morning routine that includes a toddler, no sis, no ma'am, no, it's not going to go the way you plan, okay? Some days you're going to have a good day. You are going to be a proud mama. And then some days, no. You don't know what, you won't even know what hits you, right? We wake up, we think it's gonna be a good day. That Tyler be like, no, not today. I'm not in the mood. So can y'all tell I have a terrible two at the house? I sure do. This terrible two is not anything to play with, okay? But as a mompreneur though, the struggle is real. But on the same note, mom guilt, do not let it intrude in your life. The reason why I say that is because it's going to be hard to shake, right? And then something is going to suffer. You are either going to try to overcompensate with your kids, right? Or you're going to feel like you're missing a lot from your work. You know what I mean? So don't let mom guilt even step in. Don't let that mom guilt come in. It's not worth it. But what is worth it is balancing your time, right? Finding ways to delegate, finding systems, finding routines, right? And asking for help, because I would ask anyone for help, and I don't care. When I tell y'all, I don't care, because there's so many times that I feel overwhelmed. Sometimes it's just too much. So I will call someone up and be like, hey, can you watch your kids? I gotta get some stuff done, and I can't, and I'm struggling, right? Like sometimes we just have to do that, and it's okay. So of course, I love to let y'all know what book I'm reading. So this week, the book is The Path to Personal Power by Napoleon Hill, okay? All right, so that is it. I hope you enjoyed the episode of the podcast. And, of course, click over here to see the rest of the videos of the podcast. And let me know what you think down in the comment section.